So I've got the beam in with the forklift, I've set it all up, I've measured the length that I need, I've got my metal chop saw set up, so we're going to cut it down, two lengths, and get the checker plate in. Now here we've got a beautiful clean cut. This saw's absolutely brilliant. Okay, steel's all cut, checker plate's turned up now. It's 2.5 meters long by 1.2 meters, 8x4 really. So it's the right length for the bits of steel that I've cut, but it's too wide. So I'm going to weld one box section on, and I'll probably weld the other box section on, and then I'll get my plasma cutter and just cut off the excess. Instead of cutting it now, I can use the box section as a straight edge. Saves me having a faff about then. So this is my centre ramp, these are my other ramps. This one's actually slightly longer than the blue ones. So I'm going to mimic that plate length the same as this ramp. It's 70 centimetres wide, but then I'm going to have the box sections on the outside. So it'll be 70 plus the width of the box sections. You can see that's a checker plate, but I've put a flat plate on this. Usually when we're trying to get the back wheel off, we use a paddock stand, but the checker plate makes it really difficult for the paddock stand wheels to roll over them. So hence why this has got sheet steel on there. Okay, so I'm going to get the box sections over here. I've got my G clamps. I'm going to stick on. I'm going to use the forklift because once that plate's on the floor, there's no way of getting it off. So I'm going to put the box section in the corner. I'm going to clamp it up, put a few tacks on it, measure it across, put the other box section on, tack that on, and then I'll plasma cut the end off. Okay, box section's on, it's clamped in at both ends, so I've got my welder set up, so we're going to put some stitch welds in there just to keep it in place, and then I'll get the other one and we'll do the same on this side. Okay, so I've got these partially stitched up. You can see the stitches there. We just had a bit of a panic moment. It's my son there. He said, Dad, you've measured those box sections. I said, did you measure the width for your fork legs? As it happens, we're within 2 centimetres, so it just about fits. We've pushed those out to the maximum. They stop at these bars, so we're within 2 centimetres, which is brilliant. Otherwise, I'd be cutting his stitches out and re-welding it. So we're okay. Okay, all the stitch welds are in. Got my plasma cutter set up. Before we cut, I just need to make sure I don't cut the legs of my forklift off. So I need to pull the whole metal sheet forward, and then we can cut the end off. Okay, end cut off, ground. I've stuck to cut the triangles there in the corner. It's very unlikely it's going to buckle. I mean, that is 4.5mm check plate on the plane, plus you've got the little, the check bit, which makes it even taller. Once it's in the forklift, it's not going to go anywhere. Okay, I didn't do whole seam welds. I think it was probably going to be a OTT, so I've put longer stitch welds in there on both sides. Stuck these triangles in there as well, and all the stitch welds are in. So we're going to plonk it onto these bits of wood, and then we're going to get the forklift extenders, and we're going to make sure this works. It's my son's last day yesterday, so he's venturing off to do some other stuff, so we need to get his toolbox out the way up there. We need to get my gym down, which I never use. So the first road test for this is going to be that toolbox on there, up there. There we go, one frame made. So I need to get a wheel chuck on there. I've got a couple sitting over the one there, so one of those will end up going on there, and then the bike will go on forwards. We'll take those upstairs so we can work on them, and then they'll be taken off backwards. Right, for the minute we're going to be using it for this toolbox. We'll see how that goes. Well, that worked. Got the toolbox up. That actually worked really well. I didn't want to video the whole thing because in case you went horribly wrong. Nobody ever wants evidence of that. Okay, I've got the second toolbox on there now, so hopefully that'll go up as smoothly as the first one. Okay, all cleaned, degreased, prepped for paint. Paint's down there, so that's going to be going on. I won't be painting it. These fine gentlemen will be painting it. Well, that looks pretty good. It's almost factory built. Okay, so I've mocked up a wheel chuck and a tyre just to see how close we were to the frame of the forklift. It's about the right place. My biggest concern now is fixing this to the actual frame, because I don't want any bolts sticking out the bottom, because when we take it up there, and I want a flat bottom, so I don't want any lumps or anything at the bottom there. I don't really want to weld this on here. One, because we've got these high textured steel. It's difficult to get a decent weld down there. I don't really want to weld these in. I want to be able to remove them. I could tap it, stick a stud in there, but this is 4mm sheet steel on the plane, which means that the flat area is only 4mm. These are 2 or 3mm higher, but there's not enough there to have a decent fixing on studs. Now, I could put a stud in there, tap it, and then weld the bottom and then grind it flat. That might be my only option then. But then if I do remove this, then I've still got studs sticking out, so it doesn't really resolve any issues in any way. So if I was to use it for something else, then I've still got studs sticking out. So at the moment I'm dwelling on what I'm going to do, but as of right now I haven't got the foggiest, so let me plan it. To be fair, I don't need this end fixed, I just need this end fixed, because once the wheel's in there it's not going anywhere. Once we get a bike in there, I'm going to strap it down to some hooks in the corners, so we're only going up there, so it's not exactly that far. If I come over to my ramps, these are fixed on the ends, so I might be able to use this sort of idea with the bracket on the ends. But if you have a look, none on the fronts are bolted. This one has, because it's got a big plate on it, but it's only halfway up. But there's only 2 bolts in this one. There's nothing on the end, just 2 in the centre, and then this one. This one's holding a big Harley Davidson, and this has only got screws at the end, nothing at the front. So realistically, knowing that all this works, I'll probably just stick two fixings down here, and if need be I could probably weld a bracket up and then just bolt sideways, which will probably be the best bet. Okay, I've just been over to my scrap metal bin. I found some angle iron, which looks like it's almost made for the job. Let me just tie it right. You can see it's about the right length. So I think if I tack that down, we can drill it, bolt it, and then if I need to remove it, use this for something else, then at least I've got that opportunity to do that. Okay, welder set up, brackets in place, just ground the high bits, because I'm just going to tack to the high bits there. There'll be enough there just to keep that in place, and then once they're together I'll drill through them. Okay, welding is all done. It's tacked, not going anywhere. Okay, spud up against it. Just need to drill it and bolt it. Okay, all clamped up. Got several drill bits so we can step the sizes up. 10mm bolts, and we'll nut and bolt those. Hopefully all stay in place. Okay, drilled and bolted. Not going anywhere now. Next thing to do now is just get the bike in there, get a rough idea of where handlebars are going to be, so we can create some anchor points, either holes in the side, or be careful where I put these because I've got the forks going through the legs. If I put holes in the side for the hooks, there's a chance that these may catch that on the way through. So I have to plan this in a way where we don't get issues. So I may have to weld more things on the side just to prevent anything catching these forks. So I've got a CBR 650 on there, fits perfect as you can see. Like I said, I took the measurements of one of those ramps, so I know that it's a good size, and we can see it's a good size. If we get bigger bikes on there, similar to this, where they've got slightly longer wheelbases, we've got the extra room on the back. It's not near the forklift, which is great, and it's stable. So now I need to create some anchor points for some straps. Obviously they need to be forward of the straps because you always want to strap the bike forward. You don't want to strap it back because it'll come out the wheel chuck. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to create some loops or something on the outside, or actually even on top, but they'll have to be welded on because I can't have them going in because of the forks. Okay, 4 box sections cut, all been ground, deburred. I was going to make these out of round tube, but when you go to weld it, if you think of the edge of this being part of the round tube, there's not a lot to weld to. So I opted for square. So I'm going to put 2 of these each side, so I've got a couple of choices for anchoring. Our beautiful painted ramp, as it were, I guess. There's no real name for it, but the bed. I'll have to grind it down now again, weld it, and then paint it again. A bit annoying, but it is what it is. Okay, so I'm going to grind these up, weld it in place. I am just going to drop it on the floor, put a bike back on it, just to get a rough idea where I want those. Not just randomly put them somewhere. So I'll probably use that Honda again as a guide. Actually, I could probably use my Suzuki, which is next door, because that's the one that I need to put up there for today. So might as well wheel that out and we can use that. Okay, I've got my bike on there. Got the 2 hooks down there. So I guess, because you want to strap forward, that one seems reasonably good for there. If I put that style of bike on there with taller bars, I may need to strap a bit further forward. So I've gone for 30 centimetres and 50 centimetres. So I'm not going to bore you with the grinding and the welding, so I'm going to clean those up, tuck those in place, and then we'll strap it down and see how it goes. Well, they're welded on, not going anywhere. Same on the other side. There's one more thing to address. Now I've got this on the forklift. If you have a look at this gap here, if I push that up, you can see the bike's rocking up and down on here. As of right now, the forks are probably about here. So the entire ramp and the bike is on the tip of that fork leg. This is tilted all the way back. So even with the extenders that I had on there, it didn't make much difference, to be fair, because the extenders aren't bolted or fixed to the fork legs, they just sit on there. It wasn't making the lift any easier. It was doing very similar to what you can see there. So whilst the welder's still out, the idea is to push this down, put a box section in the bottom there, so that the entire fork leg is lifting the ramp and the bikes. Otherwise, you've got the entire weight on the thinnest part of the fork, which is right at the end. So I want the entire fork to do what it's supposed to be doing, lifting. So, going to measure that gap, find something suitable to weld in under that fork leg. Okay, so I've clamped it up, measured it. The gap there is about the same size as that. So I cut some box sections up. Here. Fits in, but as I push it further in, it jams, which means there's a thickness difference on this fork leg. Although it matches there, once the fork goes in, it'll jam part way, and then this ramp won't be far enough in. I had some smaller box sections. I've just gone to cut that up. That seems to be a better fit. There's still a gap there, but not as pronounced as it is right now. So I'll weld these in and we'll see how that goes. Okay, I've got the smaller box section in, where the big box section has got curved corners. It's lifted the box section up slightly, which is brilliant for me because it's slightly smaller compared to the bigger one we had, and having it slightly higher will be slightly better for the gap clearance for the top. So I'm going to fill this in, which I'm just going to tack it in place for the minute. Then I'm going to try it and see if that's okay, then I'll seam weld it. Okay, both sides are tacked in. You can see there's a very slight gap up there, so we can still move this in and out. I'm going to drop the bike on the floor and just test it out and see how it goes. There you go, it works perfectly. Just going to strap that down, do my final test. There we go, bike is strapped in, forklift adjustments done. That is not going anywhere. Okay, I need to clear some bikes from over there, and this bike's going up. I've got to prep it for track, because this is going out to Almeria next week. Well, depends when you're watching this video. It's going there in May. Okay, so I've got it back up again. Just gonna finish off the welding around the edges, so I know it's done. I don't have any paint left to paint this, so we'll have to get some from next door. Well, the bike's kind of up, so it's half in, half out. This is my first attempt. Obviously it needs practice. I think loading the bike on the other side of the ramp doesn't make things easy, so I think from now on we'll have to have the forklift here before we put this on. Line up straight with the doorway here, and then consider bringing the bike up. If I move that toolbox out the way, now nothing's sorted up here. If I move that toolbox out the way, it gives us some more room to push the bike back. But as it goes, it works. The straps work, bike didn't fall off, that's bolted down, and I sorted out the gap between the forks. So it came up very stable. It didn't feel in any way unstable or sketchy, so as you can see, it works. I know it's probably going to be a bit dodgy, but I think if I go backwards with the fork that's on the side stand, that should just roll off the wheel for the minute, because I need this bike up here anyway. I won't record this bit just in case it goes horribly wrong. Okay, I'm going to try that and come back in a minute. As you can see, it worked. Yes, I managed to drag it off, but like I said, this is going to need some decent planning. So I'll come up with a safer plan, and I've got a few more bikes to come up here anyway, because I've got 5 of my own bikes downstairs, so I need to put some out of the way. They need to be worked on as well. There we go, one ramp made. Anything left to do on this now is put some finish and paint on there, and well, utilise it, keep using it more. I would love to get a ramp up here. I've got plenty of height up here. The only thing is, it's just I'm a bit concerned about adding too much weight up here. Having a few bikes, it's not going to hurt, but having that and a ramp might be a bit too much. Well guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. As always, I try and do videos that are out of the norm, something different. This was definitely different. A mobile lift so we can move bikes around. As always, if you enjoyed the video, please hit the like button, the subscribe button, and the bell notifications to be notified next time I upload a video. Take care guys.